day one, a violent vertical ledge setter.
I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. It worse than that side.
Yeah, all right, everybody. Circle jerk it is. Welcome to the After Hours Jets Fest, where we talk about stupid shit concerning a team that is baffling, confusing, never boring, unless it's talking about the actual games, of course. I mean, but that's not important. Let's get out of there. Let's do this. I'm GreenBean. I'm happy you're here. I got to change the lights a little bit. It gets grainy if it's too, I'm hurting my eyes. So I'm trying to, there we go. That's a little better. So, like the bright lights for 2 hours in the previous show, it gets to my eyes. So like I'm using this for that. Oof. Actually this. So now I switch it over for this show. Get a little mood lighting. You know what I mean? So, yeah, anyway. That's right, Jake. Here we go. Where is it? Oh, shit. I'm on the wrong thing. Hold on. Jake Assman checking in. What's up, Jake? It's good to see you, buddy. That's the thing. I've written the letter that I'm going to be sending to Woody Johnson, resume on request. I'll be making my official announcement soon. I'm crafting it all this week, probably latest Monday of next week is bye week. You know, I could take some time, but yeah, man, I'm throwing my hat in the ring, dude. I'm sick of it. Who better to be the Jets GM? Like, you know what the thing? Like, here's Jake, and just tell me if I'm wrong. Every coach or GM that we have, by the end of their tenure here, they look like the president of the United States after his second term, don't they? They look old, they look defeated and tired and like wrinkly and just they're like, I don't fucking. Or a quarterback. Anybody who's here for 4 years or more, they're like, oh my God. Like, well, what about? I don't know. We should be doing better. I mean, not what we wanted. That's what. They look like they're just destroyed. We've been here forever. It's like, when Bane told Batman, you've merely adopted the dark. I was born in it. Remember? We were born in the dark. We're not tired. Maybe for a minute here and there we go, oh my God, I can't talk about it for another minute. And you go to bed, you wake up the next day and you're like, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's just who we are, man. We've been here the whole time. If there's anybody that knows the deal, and yes, you got to know football, you got to know player personnel, you got to know some things. Well, you keep the accountants around, right? I don't need to do the contracts. I've never done contracts. I've been running $1 million businesses for, the last 15 years. I never did a contract, and I figure out what needs to be done, and I get the expert that knows how to do the details. And I go, hey, here's what I want you to here's how I want it. And they go, okay. And that's what they do. Who better than us? Our drafts are always better. Our free agent lists are always better. Our coaching hire decisions are always better. What needs to happen every year, we know better. And there was this narrative that ever since the 83 draft, the guy famously said from the Madison Square Garden Theater, what used to be called the Felt Forum, and then the Paramount Theater, where they used to hold the draft all those years ago. He said, well, obviously the Jets know something that the people up here don't. And we used to buy that shit. I no longer buy it. I think we know more. Yes, you have more data sheets. Yes, you have more access. Yes, you have more information, but you don't know more. You don't. You're overcomplicating the joint. It's like when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he said, 80% of you get the fuck out. I don't need you. And everybody went, oh my God, he's ruining the blah, 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 blah. It doesn't seem to be falling apart. Twitter's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I didn't need 80% of the staff. That's how I look at it. Not that I say the staff, I don't need 80% of these reports that you're giving me. Like, tell me we didn't know as Jets fans that you didn't need to trade up for AVT. You could have kept your 2/3, took Creed Humphrey, and called it a day. And then had 2/3. Who didn't know that? Not that we didn't love AVT. Great pick. Right? Who didn't know that Trey Smith was worth the risk from the 4th round on that year? He was a first-round talent. He had blood clots, and he's sitting there in the 4th, sitting there, and I think he went in the 6th round to the Chiefs. Fucking fine. Who didn't know that? The Jets. The Jets didn't know that. Fucking Jake. Dakota. What's up, buddy? It's always good to see Dakota. I want to say hi to everybody on Twitter. There's 77 of you hanging out on Twitter right now for the After Hours show. Welcome to you guys. We only have 70 here on YouTube. It's tough, man. It's tough this late. It's tough with everything going on. You know, I'll be honest with you. Like, you know, I have work that I do, right? So I used to like passionately like wake up and ingest as much Jet shit as I could. I find it difficult right now to ingest it all. I don't fucking. But today, we fired our general manager, Joe Douglas, much maligned. You know, you guys know I supported Joe Douglas for much of the time here. This was it, though. And I said that at the beginning of the season. It's like, look, I get it. I think the team is stocked with plenty of talent, much more talent than 3 wins. Is that fair? I mean, even if, look, I mean, simple as the field goal kicker, if he would have just made the kicks, we're a 6-win team. So there's at least that, right? So I think that he did a good job overall. But, dude, 6 years, and you got what? What is it? 24 victories or something crazy? 7, 4, and 3? Well, what is it? What's Joe Douglas's record? Again, I forget. Let me see what it is. And we're going to take a look at this article. We're going to look at it together. Okay. We talked about it in the previous show, the Talking Jets panel, but we'll go over it today. Let's see what Joe Douglas's record is. Just so I know people have that shit on the top of their head, but he's 30-64. So think about this. Since Joe Douglas came here, 6 years, we've only seen 30 victories. 7-9 the first year. Remember, they went on that 6-2 run, the vaunted 6-2 run to end the season. What does that mean? If you're 7-9 and you went on a 6-2 run, that means you were 1-7. That was the Sammy Boy mono year, if I remember correctly. 2000, then we had a 2-win season, then a 4-win season, then 2 7-win seasons, and right now we've got 3. He's never broken 7 wins, and he's not going to this year with his team. It's just not, I mean, he's not going to no matter what, but his team, it's not going to break 7 wins. If it does, it'd be a miracle. If they do, I'll jump right back in. I will. Paris checking in. What's up, buddy? He says, Woody Johnson picking the next GM is like playing Russian roulette. Total luck of the draw and probably a bullet to the head. I'm not optimistic. How could you be? I mean, look, here's the only silver lining that I see. I talked about this a little bit. We did, actually. I brought it up, but we talked about it. The only positive that I see from this, and I think probably has to do, like it's at least some of the motivation to just fire him now and not wait it out. And it said it at the bottom, the last sentence of the letter that Woody Johnson put out was the GM search will begin immediately, right? So I think there's the idea that they wanted to get Joe Douglas out of the building so they can have these conversations. Nobody's going to want to interview or discuss a job that somebody occupies. That's disrespectful. What if they know each other, they've worked, these guys, they know each other. It's a club. They respect each other, right? They have history, I'm going to interview. The guy's fucking sitting in the office. I'm going to walk in and whatever. I'm going to interview behind his back. I think that's not going to that's a bad look, man. So if you have an idea like, hey, I can get a jump on this, there's nobody else is fired yet. So you can get a jump. And what I think should be happening right now, Paris, is Woody should be contacting the Cleveland Browns or contacting Vrabel's agent, however he's got to do it, to make sure there's no tampering, right? It's mid-season, so it's weird. But you can say, look, I would like the permission to interview Vrabel for my general manager job. And you bring him in, and you go, Vrabel, you're the football czar. You are in control of the New York Jets. Bring on a general manager to run that side of things, but you're over him. Fuck it. Why do you need some rookie GM that's going to be the boss? Bring in Vrabel. Let him bring his former GM in as the general manager. He'll have the position, he'll have the title and everything. But you just say, Vrabel, you're my football czar. I'll give you $15 million a year. I'll give you a 5-year contract or 6. Screw it. I'll give you a 6-year contract and you run the football operations. You're in charge. The second the season ends, Cleveland's not going anywhere either. So you just get him in here, you lock it up, you get him in here, and then honestly, for me, all is forgiven. And then you let Vrabel sit down with Brees and Garrett and all the young players and go, dude, calm down. Okay? You guys are great. The team, we got more than enough pieces to get rolling here. You guys were very poorly managed. You guys were very poorly handled, very poorly coached. And we're gonna take care of the business. Don't you worry. I got you. Take a look at what I've done in the NFL. I've outcoached some of the greatest coaches in the NFL, in NFL history, head to head. Vrabel is a coach. He's a head coach. And on top of that, the only reason I like Vrabel so much, like that it trumps the offense thing for me, is because he's a true head coach and his offensive coordinators keep getting hired as head coaches. So that says a lot to me. So that's the only thing. I mean, and then behind him, I think Ben Johnson's a pipe dream. The other guy, I would go right to fucking Brian Flores. I would. Who else you want? You want Todd Monken would be a first-time NFL head coach. John Gruden is crazy pants Magoo. I mean, would I be upset? No, but it's crazy. He hasn't done anything really since 2002. I mean, it looked like the Raiders were turning around that year. It did. It looked like that. And he tore it all down. And so it was going to take some time. So you can say, but again, there's no proof that would have worked. I mean, who else? I mean, I like Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy is definitely a consolation prize, but he's got a winning record as a head coach. He was in the playoffs twice in 4 years. I mean, dude, we should be so lucky. And he had Mitch Trubisky. You know what I mean? So like you look at a guy like Matt Nagy, he's in the Andy Reid tree. He was a head coach. He has a winning record, 34-31 as a head coach. No Jets coach has that. None other than Bill Parcells. No other Jets coach has that. Not even Weeb. Think about that, guys. We have one. So Matt Nagy, 34-31, playoffs 2 times in 4 years. And they lost, but you could see there's something there. And then he's from the Andy Reid tree. He goes back, and now he's the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. So he's kind of staying in that kind of offensive mindset. He's seeing what's going on. Chiefs fans don't like him, but don't make no mistake. He's not calling the plays. He's not. Andy Reid's calling the plays. So I don't know. That's another guy, but I did, buddy. I did, Paris. My letter that I have a letter, it's like I gotta do some things to it, but the meat is done. I'm in the 3rd revision. No, I'm not gonna do the stand-up. But that's the thing, too. I gotta figure out how to add that to it, too. Like, if you want headlines, buddy. Number one, I'm a public speaker for the last fucking Jesus. We did our TV show in LA in 2004, so I was already a comedian for like 5 years, 6 years. Let's say the last 27 years, I've been a public speaker. No issues there. You know what I mean? I can do all this stuff. The only thing I can't figure out the contracts and all that shit. I have no idea. So, but anyway. Right, Beefy? They're overcomplicating it, man. It's like when you get lost in the sauce with combine numbers. Like, look, you got 3 years of tape on a player. He's playing at Arkansas. He's an offensive guard. He's running people off the field. He's pancaking dudes. He's got, 1 sack in the last 2 years. He gives up 3 pressures, and he's got 2 penalties. And then he runs a slow 40, and he looks like he doesn't run the drills. And you're like, nah, he's like a 6, 7, 3. He's not even draftable. Like, what? And that's why the Jets, we get in this position where the guys that we covet in free agency for like the offensive line, just as an example, are all 4th, 5th round picks. And we're ready to give them their second contract. We're the team looking to give them big contracts to come over here. Why didn't you just figure it out and draft them? Football players, dude. A team of football players. Imagine that, Paul. Paul Sasaki checking in. But Paul Sasaki Jr. Thank you, buddy. He says, how do you stay positive, GreenBean, after you stop drinking? Shit. Well, it took me a minute, Paul. I wasn't fucking positive for a while. I'll tell you guys a story, right? So, yeah, I don't know if you guys know the details of it, but I was a crack addict for 19 years, right? Smoked crack almost daily. Maybe the first couple of years it wasn't daily, but I would go to Spanish Harlem or Patterson and ultimately Newark, where I was homeless for a little while. But at the end, the last 2 years was heroin, but it was crack like the whole time. Alcohol, lots of alcohol. Like alcohol was my number one. I always had alcohol. And then I would do everything else. Weed, acid, methamphetamine, whatever you had. Soma, muscle relaxers, whatever. But when I got sober, I went to a rehab. I went down to Miami and I met this great bunch of people. I met my wife down there and that. So I'm very grateful. That was a long time ago. And I'm still married, have kids and all that stuff. So, but when I went down there, I went to a rehab. I was in there for like 70 days. And then I did like a month of outpatient. And then I did 18 months of what they call aftercare, which is 1 day a week. So I stayed with this rehab for like a long time. But during my first year, so I went down there in January of 2006. And then in December, it was my birthday of 2006. So I had less than a year sober, but I was just coming around the mountain, Paul. And we went to the Cheesecake Factory. This is funny. And you know how when it's your birthday, people like to have the waiters and shit come and sing happy birthday? I don't like that. Like, I'm less rigid about it now, but I still don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like when they come over and they make their weird happy birthday song. They all change it to something weird. Happy birthday. I'm like, oh my, I don't like it. I don't like everybody looking at me. I don't want the whole thing. So I told my friends, I was with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. She'll corroborate the story. And I told, it was probably like 8 or 10 of us. And I told them all, look, it's my birthday. I know you guys are going to want to get the waiters over here. I really don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want you guys to do it. I don't want it. So please don't do that. And they said, no problem. Now, I saw some whispering going on at the end. My girlfriend was whispering with this guy, which I'm already freaky, jealous, weird guy, because I'm not right yet. I'm like, what are they doing? They're going to do something. They're sneaking around behind my back. Like, I'm already doing that crazy stuff. And I picked up on it, and I just said, look, something's going on, and I'm going to tell you right now that if you bring the waiter thing over, I'm not going to be happy. Like, I don't want it. And they said, no, we're not doing that. I said, okay. I happened to see one of the guys. He says, I'm going to the bathroom. And I see him over there with our waitress on the other side of the restaurant. And they're talking and doing the whole thing. And I said, he's doing it. He's going to fucking do it. So I told him when he came back, I said, look, I saw you talking to the waitress. I don't want to hear any. You're going to tell me that no, it isn't. And then you're going to want to surprise me. I'm going to tell you this. Okay. I've now told you 3 or 4 times I don't want it. If they come over and sing the song, what I'm going to do is flip this fucking table and throw chairs across the. That's what I'm going to do. And they were like, I said, I'm not, I've asked nicely. It's my fucking birthday. I did this whole thing. I said, I will flip this fucking thing. And I said, so if you got to do it, now's the time to go tell the waitress. And then my friend just goes and gets up and walks. Yeah. Okay. Now, was I right? Maybe in principle, right? I did ask. But so the point is, Paul, is it took some time for me to be positive. That's my point. Now I drink, I have Dr. Pepper or something like that. Yeah. But drinking never really made, I guess it did, but, it made me happy. I can't lie. So, yeah, it's tough. I get it. Like there are times I wish I could just fucking, for me, though, it's not so much drinking. Sometimes I'd like to just especially after going into MetLife, watching them lose in the rain, I'd love to just spark a joint. That's me. I'd be like, just smoke a joint and chill out, listen to some Floyd and drive home. But it's not worth it. So I don't. But, so that's my story, Paul. I hope you liked it. Boogie Down Bronx says, GreenBean, please stop with I think you mean Nagy, the Nagy stuff. The guy sucks. I feel like you're almost trying to convince yourself I'm not saying he'll be a prize, brother. Trust me when I tell you, he's not. I said he's like a consolation, Boogie Down Bronx. But by comparison, he checks the boxes, right? Like I'm saying, when I talk about Matt Nagy, I'm coming from the angle that I really do have a genuine fear that nobody's going to want to come here that's worth a shit. That's my fear. You're talking about going to get Flores. Flores might. You know what I mean? AFC East gets revenge on Miami. But he's not going to take Woody's shit. I'm telling you right now. But who's going to be the GM over Flores? Who? So you got to figure this out. Somebody weak where Flores is pushing. Flores is no joke. He's not. Guy's an animal. That guy's bold, bro. You know what I mean? Which is great. But as far as the dynamics, so Flores, look, here's my real choices. Vrabel, that's my guy. Do everything you can to go get Vrabel. If you can't, Ben Johnson, offense, but he's a rookie. Flores, defense, but he's got experience as a head coach, a successful head coach. I'm in. Those are my guys. I wouldn't hate Stefanski if Cleveland lets him go. He kind of got a raw deal over there. I think he's a good coach. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just saying, when you look around, who's left? Would you rather have Joe Brady? Joe Brady is a completely unproven commodity. Now, maybe he's great, But I'm just saying, like, what are our boxes? Our boxes are this. You would like to get an offensive mind in here from the top. So they're not like an also. Oh, and then like I talked about last week, and I've talked about it a few times, but the Jets have had 7 offensive coordinators in the last 10 years. That's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. 7 offensive coordinators in 10 years. And that's under 3 coaches. That's nuts. It's nuts, dude. All right. So offense is an afterthought here. You're clearly not prioritizing the offense if every 2 years we're getting a new one because the guy's garbage, right? So you want to get offense in here if you can. The other thing that we do constantly is we are constantly hiring rookie head coaches. And then we wonder why they don't have it all figured out. This isn't the market, dude. We're not fucking soft like Tampa, like, well, Green Bay. They're like nice. They you know what I mean? They support and hey, he'll get it. Don't worry about it, coach. Go get him next time. There are markets that are not like us. Arizona. You think they're throwing things at the quarterback after he wins a game because he threw an interception? That's us. We're doing that shit. When's the last time you heard about an Arizona Cardinals fan texting someone's mother that sucked? And they've sucked a long time too. When's the last time, right? So we're different. So when you bring in a rookie, we're going to get a rookie GM and a rookie head coach and do the whole thing all over again. Again, I'd consider that with Ben Johnson, but like there's really nobody else. I mean, Joe Brady's interesting, right? Cliff Kingsbury's an interesting one, but he was a failed head coach. Like Vrabel and Flores were fired in weird ways. Yes, Vrabel had a losing record that last year. He was the coach of the year 2 years earlier. Like, that's crazy to me. So, like, for me, a Nagy, he's an offensive mind. He comes from the Andy Reid tree. He was a head coach in the NFL. He has a winning record as a head coach in the NFL. He's coached to the playoffs 50% of his coaching years. Again, he's not my guy. I'm just saying, I would rather have Matt Nagy over a rookie. That's what I'm saying. Unless it's Ben Johnson. And because we're not going to get anybody. I'm afraid. That's the thing with John. So with Flores, John, right. So to back up Boogie Down's comment, it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, Flores, if he comes here, he's going to want to make Miami pay. You know it. So that's an extra bonus. And he's coached in the AFC East, so he's kind of aware of what, the dynamics, the rivalries. The Patriots aren't the same. I believe the Bills are. The Bills are the same coach, same GM, same quarterback of when he was here. That's pretty good. Nicholas Roca, what's up, buddy? Thanks for checking back in. Just by pure probability, we get it right this time. Oh, man, I wish that was true, right? You throw enough darts, you're bound to hit the bullseye. I'd love that to be true, man. That's the old broken clock, right, Nick? Even a broken clock. Look, again, guys, don't be so black and white, Swamp Thing. I saw you on Twitter. Like there's I'm not telling you that's my guy. I'm telling you that people that are anti Matt Nagy are not looking at it right. We can do worse. Again, that's not what I want. But fuck, man. I don't want a rookie head coach again. I don't. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching them have to figure out the time, the clock management. Aren't you done? Aren't you done with a head coach who still wants to call the plays? Rookie year, we got a rookie quarterback, and he's thinking too much about the next play, and he forgets that the clock, and oh my God, we're running out of time. And then he hires a clock management specialist like we've seen every last 3 coach. I'm so sick of it, man. I don't want Matt Nagy. I need to make sure that you guys understand that. I'm saying out of the consolation crew, when you can't get Vrabel, you can't get Flores, and you can't get Ben Johnson, and you can't get Stefanski if he's broken free, and you're looking around the NFL and there's a bunch of rookies, and you got Aaron Glenn, who the only reason that we love him, and I love him, is because he's a Jets fan. He's doing a great job, don't get me wrong, but once again, you're going to hire another rookie defensive coach because he was a former Jet who you let go in the expansion draft to the Panthers, right? Or Jaguars, one or the other. Or maybe it was the Texans. It was the Texans. That's what it was. Holy shit. Sheesh. We let Aaron Glenn, what is that? Hennessy, my buddy. What's up? Who will want to work with Woody besides Rex? I mean, look, and there's the other side of it all, right? Think about this. We're pining. We have Jets fans pounding the table for Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan has a losing record as a head coach. All right. He made the playoffs his first 2 years largely because the team was already here. Largely. Thomas Jones was already here. The offensive line was already here. Dustin Keller was here. Jericho Contry was here. The defense was here, other than Bart Scott. Right? Bart Scott? Is that his name? Jesus, I feel fried. And Jim Leonard. He brought in a few guys, and they were great. They were important. Make no mistake. But the team was here. Revis was here. Then the next year, they brought in Cromartie. They brought in LaDainian Tomlinson. They got rid of Thomas Jones, replaced him with LaDainian Tomlinson. Right? But as the Rex impact on the player, on the personnel decisions took root, it got worse. The team just got uprooted. Sean Ellis was here. All those guys were here already. You look at and then he had 4 years of subpar or failure here. And then he went right to Buffalo and failed there. It's I love Rex. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. I would give him a lifetime. If it's going to be Rex, just give him a fucking lifetime contract. Put it to bed. And that's our coach. Win, lose, whatever. Who cares? At least it's fun. You know? But on one hand, we're pounding the table for a guy who had 2 good years and then 6 straight bad ones. 6 straight bad years. And don't forget, Rex had 3 offensive coordinators here. So Rex had 4 offensive coordinators in 8 years as a head coach. Do you see it, man? Am I nuts? And I love Rex. Make no mistake. But the idea that Rex makes sense and Matt Nagy doesn't, I just don't understand that. Again, I think we're not looking at all the pieces. And I don't love Matt Nagy. But you might have a point, Hennessy. I mean, that might be what we're stuck with. Paul Sasaki checks back in and says, look in the mirror, Woody. And he won't, dude. He doesn't have that capacity. He's a super crazy billionaire his whole entire life. He's in charge. He's got yes men all around him, other than Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. If this article is true, and it didn't work, it's he'll listen to you. Okay, sure, you die on the sword. It didn't work. You're gone. Goodbye. He's not guys like that. They're never gonna look and consider for a second that it's them. That's the problem. That's just not, it's not, you know what I mean? It's like the higher you go up the ego spectrum, the harder and harder it gets for somebody to like actually look in the mirror and say, holy shit, I made a mistake, because they have people around them that want to keep their jobs, and egocentric billionaire type people. They don't like to be challenged. I mean, speaking in a general sense, I'm sure there are some. Why do you want to pick up Daniel Jones, Deborah? What sense does that make? Talk to me. I don't get it. Paris checking back in says, would you trade your number one pick for Mike? Dude, I would trade fucking 3 number one picks for Mike Tomlin, and they wouldn't do it. There's no way. I would trade 3 first-round picks for Mike Tomlin. No doubt in my mind. Dude, the guy doesn't lose. He hasn't had a losing season yet. Isn't that true? He almost did, and then they won like the last 5 games of the year, something like that. Let's see here. Mike Tomlin, Paris. 10-6, 12-4, 9-7, 12-4, 12-4, 8-8, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5, 13-3, 9-6 and 1, 9-6 and 1, 8-8, 12-4, 9-7, 9-8, 10-7, and right now he's 8-2. Dude, come on. He's been their head coach since 2007. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches in 50 years. 40 years, something like that. He's been their head coach for the last, what is that? 24, I guess, 21 minus 7, 14. So 17 years. And he's never had a losing season. I don't know, buddy. 3 first-round picks. I'd do that in a heartbeat. 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I don't care. What's a first-round pick? You know what I mean? Just go free agency and go get somebody. Do the same thing. Who cares? And I love my picks. Don't get me wrong. A first. Well, if they said, hey, look, we're looking to move on from Tomlin, you can have him for a first, I would literally stumble over myself trying to find a pen. Whatever it is that they need to get it done. Pen, computer, iPad, BlackBerry, what the fuck? What do I do? I wouldn't even be able to compose myself. I go, that's interesting. Let me think about it. Yes! That's what I'd do. Money Mitch says, why not go for all-time great cheater? Because he's a piece of shit, and he's never done anything without Tom Brady. Literally. And he cheats, like you said, Money Mitch. Tell me, make the case for Bill Belichick for me again. When he had, let's look at Bill Belichick's record. What year was Tom Brady drafted? Wait, Tom Brady. Let me see something. So Tom Brady's the years, I think it was 2001 that he came in. 2001, Tom Brady came in. Okay. So, and then 2002 was the first time that he started all 16 games. So 2001, let's say. Let's see. Bill Belichick's record as a coach. So here's his record in Cleveland. Okay. 6-7, 7-9, 7-9. Then he had an 11-5. Then he was 5-11 and was fired. Okay. That was his stint as the Cleveland Browns head coach. So then he was in All right. New England in 2000, he was 5-11. So then Tom Brady, so he was 5-11. Tom Brady comes in and he's 11-9, 11-5, 9-7, 14 wins, 14 wins, 10 wins, 12 wins, 16-0, 11 wins, 10 wins, 14 wins, all the way. When did Tom Brady leave again? Let me see. So Tom Brady left in 2020. So it's crazy. It's like 12 wins, 12 wins, 13 wins, 14 wins, 13 wins. Then 2020, Tom Brady leaves. Bill Belichick is 7-9. Then he had that 10-win season, made it to the playoffs, lost in the wild card, right? So he had one 10-win season. Then he was 8-9, 4-13. So without Tom Brady, he's had 2 winning seasons. 2. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he had 2 out of 9. So think about it. If he was a head coach for 9 years and had 2 winning seasons, is that good? Is that good? And he had a first-round pick quarterback. He had, Mac Jones is whatever, but he had his first-round pick quarterback. So he sucks. He sucks the balls. Blab. What's up, man? Good to see you. He says, as long as Woody is the owner, we will never win a Super Bowl, yet alone get to 1 and never be a perennial winner, i.e. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I could not agree more. I was talking about it in the last stream. The reason somebody said, why is it that we can't get a quarterback? We just can't win. And I know what it is. It's because when you compare the Jets to a team like the Steelers, as a great example that Ablab put on there. The Jets are not a football organization. The Jets are a business organization. Now, it's not to say the Steelers aren't business. They're doing great. They sell out. They got loyal fans. They got fucking terrible towels. Sales are through the roof. You know what I mean? Their jerseys have been selling forever. They've been to 6 Super Bowls. So they have 6 rings, I think it is. So they're doing great money-wise, but they're doing it make and play great football team. Make great football teams, play great football, and you'll make the money. We're not looking at it that way. We're money first. We're business first. There's no football guy in charge, president of football operations. Get the right GM, make sure everything's football oriented. It's business. Jaime is a law school. He's a lawyer. That's the guy. Wait, look, Jaime, what's his position? Jaime, New York Jets. What's his name? Jaime Eli, president. He's the president of the New York Jets. Jaime, he's a lawyer. He's not a fucking football guy. And he's widely considered one of the most respected business, because the Jets, I say this all the time, and I can't make it clear enough for everybody. The Jets don't have to win. The Jets' business model is intact. Woody has 10 times his value of this organization. Who has the balls to have a losing franchise and raise the prices and then push the date that season ticket holders have to commit and pay? Move it up before the holidays while we're in a terribly painful losing season. Why would he have the balls to do that? Because they're making money hand over fist. Listen, reigniting the passion of the fan base by getting a new regime, fresh faces with a top draft pick, a young quarterback, or a Hall of Famer every 4 or 5 years. It's working fine. And that's their business model. I'm sure Woody thinks he does want to win. I don't doubt that. But he's not willing to do that at all costs and commit. Like another rookie head coach in here, guys, and it might work. Don't get me wrong. And if it, I'll be rooting for it and all that shit. But it's more of the same. The reason you hire rookie head coaches every 4 years and rookie GMs, Tannenbaum, rookie GM. Bradway, before him, rookie GM. So it was Bradway rookie, Tannenbaum rookie, McCagnon rookie, Idzik rookie, Joe Douglas rookie. You seeing a fucking trend here? What do you think? You seeing a trend? Oh, meanwhile, that rookie GM, rookie head coaches the whole time except for Adam Gase. Terry Bradway had Herm Edwards. He wasn't even a coordinator. He was a damn defensive backs coach, and I loved Herm, and he did a good job. But he had the fortunate situation of having Parcells' team. Chad Pennington, Curtis Martin, Kevin Mawai. You know what I mean? Jumbo Elliott was still here. Think a little bit. Fabini, like all those guys were still here. You know, Herm did some good things. Don't get me wrong. I liked Herm. But it's like, you know, but again, Bradway had Herm, rookie. They fucking get rid of those guys. They bring Tannenbaum on, who was Parcells' accountant, who famously made the Curtis Martin poison pill contract, remember? That the Patriots couldn't match. So he ends up being our GM. And they kept Bradway as like a scout, the director of scouting. They didn't even fire him. They just demoted him. And Tannenbaum gets Mangini, rookie. We get him for 3 years. And they fire him 9-7, even though they traded for Brett Favre and he tore his bicep. And we were 9-7, missed the playoffs, and we fired him. Hired Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan took that team that was built to win. Same thing, you know, as Herm, but maybe even better. That team was built, baby. And he has 2 great years. But again, Tannenbaum, you know, Mangini rookie, Rex rookie. And they fire Tannenbaum. Rex is a now 4-year head coach, and they bring on a fucking fake GM and John Idzik. He was like a paper pusher, a pencil pusher. They bring him in because nobody else wanted the job because Rex Ryan was here. And then they fire them both, and they hire McCagnon. Actually, they hired Bowles and then hired McCagnon. So McCagnon didn't pick him. So that was right from the get-go weird. And then they fire Bowles and keep McCagnon. They hire Gase. Gase doesn't like McCagnon. So, but again, it's like, you know what I mean? Like Todd Bowles was a rookie. McCagnon's a rookie. So they do that. Then they bring in a vet coach who just came from a ruined relationship in Miami. He's here for 15 minutes and he ruined his relationship with McCagnon. No, rightfully so. But the way it happened, the garbage. Gates is on cocaine or meth or whatever, and he lasts fucking 2 years and he's out of here. And they hire a rookie GM and he hires another rookie coach. Like, do you see it, man? Like, but the system, all that while, it's like this, it's worth $2 billion, it's worth $3 billion, it's worth $4 billion, it's worth $5 billion. It just keeps going up. They'll freshen it up again. Woody's mad. He's going to step in. He's going to fire. Blah, 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 blah. And we all go, yeah, I love this coach. They got him, and they got my guy in the draft, and we're all passionate again. And then we'll watch it fail, and then the 4 years, and they do it again. And it's like, and I agree, Ablab. I agree. Swamp Ranger. Bean, I'm tired of the half-ass bottom of the barrel head coaches we hire. Hire Cliff Kingsbury. Well, what gives you the idea that Cliff Kingsbury isn't bottom of the barrel? Now, here's the good thing. Like, so again, like, let's take a look at Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, successful college coach, right? Then he comes to the NFL. He has a hard time. He interviews with the Jets. The Jets didn't choose him. He went and he got hired by Arizona. Fails there. But then he goes and he's a coordinator. So I think he had 3 years. Maybe it was 4, but I think it was 3 years in Arizona. Right? Maybe it was 2. Maybe it was 2 years. But he goes and he's an offensive coordinator for the Ravens now. Or no, the Redskins, the commies, the Commanders. And he's doing a great job. So the positives are he's been a head coach more than once, college and the NFL. Failed, but he's an offensive mind. And he's had time to reset as a coordinator. So you're getting a guy who could have learned the mistakes, the Todd Bowles situation. You know what I mean? I don't even know what his record is this year. Yeah. Let's see here. What's the Bucks? What are they doing? Come on, everybody. Where are they? They're 4-6, so not great this year, but he did good last year. Well, you know what I mean? You get a coach. He's kind of been through the mess. He's learned. He's had time to reset, do what he does, prove that he's kind of worked his way back through. So maybe, but I don't know. I don't love Cliff Kingsbury, but he does check some boxes. But he's not at the top for me, Swamp Ranger. But I think you got a point. I mean, he does check some boxes for us. Former head coach, offensive mind, doing a great job now again. So similar to Flores. But Flores didn't fail in Miami. Flores got fired because he called the ownership out for trying to pay him to tank. And some other stuff. So it's different. But Mr. Forte, would you consider Mangini as a GM? Yeah. Yeah, man. Mangini's first draft with Tannenbaum, right? And you can say it was Tannenbaum, but it wasn't. Tannenbaum was an accountant. Mangini was the personnel guy. You can see the stark difference between Mangini and Rex years with same GM, completely different draft pick style. Mangini's first draft. Remember, he traded John Abraham, which, whatever. It is what it is. But he traded John Abraham. His first draft pick was a left tackle in the first round, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. In that same first round, he drafted our center, Nick Mangold. And then he followed that with Kellen Clemens, a backup quarterback, but had the potential to develop, right? So he goes right to it. Right to it, man. Yeah, he had Chad. So he was like, all right, let me get my backup. Let me get the guy developing on. So again, not all these guys work out, but right to it. I'm going offensive line. I'm getting a left tackle and a center in the same draft. That's balls. And for 10 years, they were mainstays for 10 years. We had DeBrickashaw Ferguson at left tackle and Mangold at center. And then Mangold made it, 2 more years or so? Then after DeBrickashaw Ferguson left. So, that's what you want to see. And then the next draft was Revis. Come on, man. I got no problem with that shit. So I'm in, Mr. Forte. Money Mitch checking back in. Come on, Bean. You had to know that was a joke. I did know that was a joke. You called him the cheater, but I had to go on my diatribe nonetheless, buddy. Because people don't know. People, there's a lot of people. A lot of people. And a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions, a lot of words. So I got to talk about it. I did know, Money Mitch. If I didn't come across that way, my sincerest apologies, sir. Evan Alfaro checking in. Says the Jets are a shady car salesman. We fall in love just to get bent over at 24% APR, no coach warranty on high miles, quarterback, 8 accidents on the Carfax. Right. That's so true. That's so true. It's like we're Clark Griswold in Vacation. You know what I mean? Buying that remember that car that he bought, the station wagon, Evan? But yeah, that's a great analogy. It's like it all looks good. It's shiny. I mean, dude, this is the best example. Tyron Smith at left tackle, Aaron Rodgers. The sheen, the shininess. It's worn off. Swamp Ranger checking in. Cliff got shafted in Arizona because use of Kyler. He is developing. Jaden Daniels nicely. Prior head coach with proven track record. Well, he didn't develop Kyler Murray very well. And I hear you. I mean, you could make your argument that he got shafted. He wasn't given. Let me see. I gotta see here because I don't want to be. I feel like it might have been if it was 2 years. Hold on. They got on this one that his stats are when he was the New York Jets quarterback. It's so funny. He played one game. He had one completion in 2 attempts for 17 yards. Not bad. 50% completion. Cliff Kingsbury. Let's see here. I'll find it. All right, here we go. Arizona 2019 20 4 years. You know what it was? I guess I had him penned as the Sala years, but he was the Gase. We hired Gase, right? Yeah, I guess so. 2019. Man. Terrible. So, all right, he had 4 years with Kyler Murray. Right? Kyler Murray was drafted. I think, yeah, he said I would draft Kyler Murray first overall, remember? Yeah, so he came in the same year. So he was with Arizona. So he was Cliff Kingsbury. They were 5-10, 8-8, 9-5, 3-8. So I mean, you could say he got shafted. I mean, I don't know. He got 4 years. And he did have. I mean, they looked good for a minute, but I don't know. You make a good argument. You know what I mean? And I guess, he's got 2 he was at I think he coached 2. Yeah, I know Texas. Hold on. Let me see here. So he was so all right, he was the head coach of Texas Tech. And then so he was the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M. That's right. I thought maybe he had 2. But yeah, so he was a head coach in college and a head coach in the NFL. And he's doing a great job with Jaden Daniels in Washington now. So I mean, and he's offense. So I mean, it checks boxes. I think he's definitely tier 2. He's in the Matt Nagy realm. Again, Matt Nagy's more successful than he is with less. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to keep. He's not my guy, you fuck. He's not, Jake. I'm just saying. And when we talk about the Cliff Kingsburys and the Matt Nagy's of the world, they check boxes. If we're not able to get anybody on tier 1, and you have to pivot, it's my belief you pivot to. If you can get a former head coach with a winning record and is an offensive guy, I don't know why you would not consider that. You might get into a meeting with him and go, the guy's a complete stiff. He's a stick in the mud. I don't know. Infrared, I'm right with you, buddy. Think about this. So for this draft, like if we're in the right now, we are the 7th draft pick. But make no mistake, guys, we're one game out of the first pick. Like, so it's not like we're, 3 wins away. We're one. If this, like the Jaguars, let me see here. Where's Tankathon? Hold on. All right, hold on. Whoops. I had the article already. I guess we're not going to get to the article. Hold on. Well, let's see. So here's where we are. Well, here's the draft. So Jacksonville's 2-9, right? 2-8, 2-8, 2-8, 2-8. New England's 3-8. Jets are 3-8. So you look at the strength of schedule. So right now we're one game back from one game. The strength of schedule, we got a 4-8-6. Well, I'm sorry, we got a 5-11. So if we were even with all they got a stronger. So, but we would, if all things are considered, we would beat. If we were even, we would beat New England and Jacksonville for that. So really, we're kind of a little less than one game back, however you slice that, if we evened it up. So, like if we lose out, dude, or even if we lose most of our games, like we got a real good shot of being a top, the top pick or like a top 2 or 3. It's true. So if you can't get a quarterback, right? Like, let's take a look real quick. So here's the prospects, right? So you got Travis Hunter. This is right now, right? Anything can change. But here's this is just this. So this is one site. Of course, everybody can have it different. But Travis Hunter, for obvious reasons. Ashton Gianti, running back, as the number 2. Shedeur Sanders, they have him as the top quarterback. Then you got this tackle right here. There's a couple tackles. And then you got Cam Ward. So if you're looking at Cam Ward, you're at the 2nd overall pick. And you're looking, whoever they take, and you're looking at Cam Ward, and you're like, I don't love him. Right? You get Cliff Kingsbury, you get Matt Nagy, or whoever, right? Vrabel, Flores, whoever it is. Flores brings over McCown, and McCown's sitting there going, I can't, whatever. They don't like him. So you think maybe I'll trade back a little bit. You can't get that done. For whatever reason, you're sitting there at number 2 and you got to take a pick. There's an argument to be made that 4/5 of your offensive line is intact. You got Olu Fashanu at left tackle. You got Simpson at left guard. You got Tippmann at center. You got AVT at right guard. There's an argument to be made like, dude, let's just nail down our offensive line. And they're all younger, all of them. Olu will be going into year 2. AVT's going into year 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tippmann's going into year 3. Simpson's going into year 6, right? So you got a younger offensive line, and now you can potentially have them together for years. There's a really strong argument. If you let's do this. Let's do offensive tackles. So let's see. I mean, I haven't looked at any of these guys, so I'm not going to come from any expertise yet, but let's just take a look. So here's what they got. They got Kelvin Banks, Wyatt Millum, Josh Connerly. You got some beefcake here. 6'6", 317, 6'4", 320, 6'4", 350. So you got some nice beefcake. Will Campbell, 6'6", 323, and on and on and on, right? So if you got a guy up there and you think, I can finish my offensive line, And then you got the developmental guys. You got Carter Warren. You got Max Mitchell. He can play guard now and everything. There's an argument to be made that that's the pick. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? You know what I mean, Infrared? Paul Sasaki. Off topic, GreenBean. What was your favorite ride at Disney World? Well, I haven't been there in a minute because I'm in protest. I am. I'm in protest for Disney World right now, but I do love Disney World. I was a Florida resident for 15 years. I considered Universal my home park, but I went to Disney World at least once a year for like 10 years, at least, usually like 5 times a year. I would go stay at the Contemporary. That was like my favorite spot. I'd stay on I forget what they called it, like the concierge floor. And you have like this place upstairs, like this free food place upstairs, and they do free breakfast, they do free lunch, they do an afternoon snack, and then they do like a late night snack. And you can go in there and watch the fireworks from there and eat all the treats that they're selling in there. You could just eat them for free and watch the fireworks over the castle from the Contemporary, the windows. I really like that. But my favorite ride at Disney World, if we're talking about Magic Kingdom specifically, my favorite ride at Magic Kingdom has always been Space Mountain. I love it. It's crazy because it's only 27 miles an hour. It's like a kiddie coaster, but it's great. It's a great ride. I love Thunder Mountain. But let's be real, Disney World is very much kind of kiddie. You know what I mean? That's what it's built for. So that's great. Splash Mountain's fun. But in Disney World in general, since I've been there last, I'll say the Force, what's it called? The Force Awakens ride? The Star Wars one, not the Millennium Falcon one. That was cool. But that other Star Wars ride was out of this world, dude. That was great. To be like on the deck of the Death Star, like the whole thing. They nailed it. They knocked it out of the park. And I thought the ride was amazing. Amazing. And the whole world was great. I enjoyed that. So, and I love Test Track. But I haven't been there. I didn't see Tron. I didn't ride Tron. I didn't ride Guardians of the Galaxy yet. You know what I mean? So that's what that is. That's what that's all about. Hennessy checking back in. Just imagine if Rogers wore number 12, curse broken. Maybe that's all it took. Maybe that's what it was. And we just didn't commit. Namath offered it. He said, hey, it's my decision. I'm willing to unretire it for Aaron Rodgers. But how bad would it be if he was wearing number 12 and we were watching this? That's the other thing. Yeah. It was, right? The Star Wars Rodgers fire. I've never been to Disneyland, Adrian. Never. I was supposed to. You remember when I did the coaster tour for 2 years? There were 77 coasters in California that I've needed to hit. And when I was first up there, I went up to Oregon and Washington State. We were heading to California, and there was all the fires. And we could not make it to California. Couldn't do it. Like I had to drive all the way to Southern California. It was like crazy thing. So I had to be rerouted like through Utah and all that kind of stuff. So we got pushed out. Then when I made it all the way to the East Coast, went back down to Florida and everything for the winter. And when we came back, we did Texas. We did like New Orleans, Dallas, El Paso, and then we went to Sedona. Our plan was to go from Sedona to Southern California and start like, there was a couple I forget, but there's some like old woodies down there on some boardwalks. We were going to hit Knott's Berry Farm and Magic Mountain. And then Disneyland was big, SeaWorld, but Disneyland was big. I wanted to get on the Matterhorn, dude. That's my big one for Disneyland, Matterhorn. That's the first ever tube coaster in the world. I want to ride it so bad. But I never did. because that was when the gas prices shot up, and in California, diesel prices were $7.50 a gallon. I couldn't do it. So that was actually the end. Sedona was the final stop on the coaster tour, except when we came back, we made some stops at like Petrified Forest and some stops in like Oklahoma. We did a couple other things on the way back, but that was it. I've been in Virginia ever since, so I never made it, man. Fucking bullshit. The only coaster I've ever ridden in California is the Santa Monica Pier. Dante, what's up, Dante? Good to see you, bud. He says, this Athletic article about Douglas and Woody's interference is nuts. I'm inclined to believe it. I know we were going to talk about it, but it's 11:46. I actually had it on. I had it queued up to go over it, but I'm not going to get to it because it's already 15 minutes after I like to end the show. And you guys are just talking about great stuff. Great America is closing, dude. Did you know that? I wanted to get out there, Adrian. This is the last year, I think. This year or next year, last year, it's closing. They already started moving rides out. This makes me crazy that I couldn't get there. And I'm not going to now. I'm definitely not this year. I got my Florida trip in December planned. I'll go down there for 10 days, hang out in Miami and, do that whole thing. I got a lot of friends down there, so I like to go down to South Florida. But yeah. It's going to be, I ain't getting out to California for a while, but I want to. There's a lot to do in California. I have a lot of history in California, man. You guys know I was in the porn business and all. I have lots of shit in California. I went to LA County. Jail. All kinds of great, fun stuff, but no Great America, Adrian. No Disneyland. Paris says, as the GM of the Jets, who would you keep or trade? Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Sauce Gardner. If Trevor Lawrence was available, would you want him? Well, I personally I am inclined to keep all three of those players. I don't like the idea that during a miserable season, when something happened, like I'm not going to focus on a singular player and say that he's washed or now, if somebody called me and offered me 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, I might consider that. I would listen to anything, but like for me, I'm looking at my core. I'm looking at youth. Like Sauce Gardner was exceptional for 2 years. And the first part of this year, don't forget, he's been playing banged up, right? In the San Francisco game, he had to come out. It's his ankle. You know what I mean? He came out of a couple games. So he's playing through it, which we used to applaud, but now we don't. Now we call you, now you suck. But so I'm not looking at a third-year player who's one of 3 players in NFL history to start his career with 2 consecutive All-Pros. And rookie of the year. Like I'm not defensive rookie of the year. I'm not looking to get rid of a guy like that. Now, again, if it's advantageous and I can, the contract's coming up, you got to think, but like me, I look at Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson. I look at those guys as core. Remember our core 4 years ago? It was DeBrick, Mangold, Harris, and Revis. Remember? That was our core 4. Now, you'd love your core 4 to be like quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher, left tackle. That's what you'd love. But for us, it was linebacker, cornerback, center, tackle. So I'm looking to keep those guys. I'm looking to bring in a badass coach and leadership and sit down with those guys and go, look, I get it. You're disenchanted, you're beat down, the whole thing. It sucks. It's been hard. But don't you fucking worry, because we're going to kick the shit out of people. I'm going to put you in the right position. I'm going to make sure that we are out coaching people. I'm going to out coach every coach we play against. Don't you worry about it. We're going to get the right pieces. You're going to be stacked. Like from the GM perspective, you're going to be stacked with animals. People who love the game, would die on the field, play with blood I'm stuck in the roster with those guys. And we're going to outwill and outman every single team in the NFL. Nobody's going to be able to compete with us. Settle down, commit, and I got you. That's what I would do. If I had to trade one, well, considering you're not going to get the same value for Brees that you would for the other guys. So it's down to like Sauce versus Garrett. I look at Garrett Wilson as arguably he's one of the best talents that we've had in here ever, in my opinion. Garrett Wilson is unbelievable. And you know what's funny? I liked him in the draft. I did. I liked him, but I didn't know this. I didn't see this. I didn't think I'd like him this much. And I would have foregone the idea of taking a wide receiver in the first, and I would have taken George Pickens in the second, which we'd be very happy with. I like George Pickens is something else. But I think Garrett Wilson, if given the right environment, I think Garrett Wilson can literally be the best Jets wide receiver of all time. That's what I think. So I'm not looking to get rid of him. I'm not looking to get rid of Sauce either, but anyway. You know what I mean, buddy. It's a hard question. Paul checks back in. Do you think who Woody brings in will tell A-Rod, what are you doing? We need some balls. I think A-Rod's gone. I think it makes no sense to keep him. Like it's one thing if he's lighting it up. Now he's going to have 3,700 yards, but let's be real, man. Like a lot of his stats are dump offs to Brees that he takes for 20, 30, 40 yards, or those 2 touchdowns by Garrett Wilson in the Texans game were unbelievable. The one was so good that it took away and we didn't even look at and pay attention to the other one, which was amazing. One-handed catch in tight coverage. Like we didn't even talk about that one because the other one was so good that it took the headlines around the NFL. So, I don't think, look, I'm not saying he's washed, and there are moments, definitely. But come on, man. He's a problem. He's part of the issue. He's not throwing over the middle accurately. He's not throwing with confidence. He's making tons of mistakes. We've had how many penalties and used timeouts because of his play clock bullshit? And whatever that is, that could be because of the offense. Well, it's his fucking fault. It's his offensive coordinator here. And then we had to pivot from him to the other guy who wasn't supposed to be our offensive coordinator. You see what I mean? There's a lot, or it's just go. You got to wash it all out. You can't clean the garage and leave one pile of dog shit in the corner because it doesn't matter that everything's clean. When somebody walks in, they're going to go, wow, this place smells like shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't, if you're going to clean the garage, you clean out everything. You get the damn leaf blower out. You blow out under the cabinets. You know what I mean? You clean it. You can't leave one turd in the corner because it doesn't matter what else you do. It still smells like dog shit in the garage. Right? Plague. The plague. 44 good night. I wonder how you say that. The plague. What is the fours? Are the fours A's, L's? I don't know. The plague 44 GN, baby. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I can get a team pumped up in 5 minutes. You just got to have the position to do so. You can't walk in like some fan and try to pump people up. But if you have a position, I'm telling you, I know how to do this thing. Dude, listen, let me just say this. My career has been with addiction, okay? First level detox and rehab addiction. First wave. The first person they see a lot of the time. My job was to help to change that person's mindset from the crazy intensity of addiction and get them to entertain another way of life. And that's what I did. That's my expertise. for the last better part of 20 years. It's 18 years I've been doing this. So it's like, I talk to football players. Yeah, they're probably they're tough. No doubt. Ain't nothing on a room of 50 addicts. I used to run men's groups. I love my Monday morning men's group, a 2-hour group with no break. I would have like 50 men. And then I would do another group with just the problem men, the angry men. I'd have like 10, 12, 15 in there. Another 2-hour group with the angriest people we had. Okay. And I would go in there alone. And I'd have men crying. I've had fucking fist fights in my group. And you're freaking out. I'd say, calm down. Everybody calm down. You guys good? You done? I'd come up. I'd put my, hand on their shoulder, I have them crying afterwards. Yeah, so you threw a punch. So what? We're men. Are we not men? Are there any women in here that are going to get upset by this? Go ahead, punch them. Not that that's what I did all the time, but that's what we got to do. It's happened quite a few times that people roll around on the floor. Somebody breaks it up. They break it up and they roll around. They yell and scream. And I go, cool, tell me what's going on. But it's like, that's what I like. That's what I like to do. It's my favorite thing in the world, other than hanging out with my kids. That said, it's like midnight. It's midnight. We didn't get to the article. I apologize. Yeah, I'd sit on the beach, man. My favorite spot in California is a place called Eagle Rock in Topanga Canyon. I used to hike all the way to Eagle Rock, and it's this rock that jets out over this I guess like a valley, and it seems like it's really high, and birds would be flying like right next to you. So they're high in the air, but they're right next to you. And I used to sit on the end of that thing for hours and just stare out, meditate, pray, and think. It's my favorite spot in California. Not that I don't, probably lots of others I'd like, but I lived in Venice Beach for a little while in my van. You know why I left? So I had this van when I was out there. We were filming some stuff. I was living in my van, and I would stay in Venice Beach because I thought it was cool. So I'd go to lots of lots of people park RVs and shit, and they park on Venice Beach in the parking lot, like just south of Santa Monica. And I would sit in my van and I would hang out a little while, but I just kind of sit. I'd shut the doors and I would just hang out in my van and leave in the morning. But one night I saw these guys, they were fighting. They were fighting outside. They were like probably 25, 30 feet away from me. Let's say 5, 6 parking spots away from me. And they were yelling and screaming. These other homeless dudes. And one guy had long hair and these other guys, whatever. And they were yelling. And this fucking guy took something in a cup. So something in a cup. And he threw it in this guy's face. And I watched this guy, the blood-curdling screams. Ah! He rolled around. It was like it was acid. That's what I thought. I was like, holy shit. Like what? It wasn't like somebody threw like hot coffee, which would burn. You'd scream and then you'd kind of come to and you'd gather your wits when it cooled off in a few seconds. It would hurt, and don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't scream for 5 straight minutes. Rolling around on the ground, and they ran away. So they did something to that guy. And I just literally, I saw that the cops were, because there's cops all over. So I saw the cops coming. I said, they got this. I fucking started my van and I left. And I never went. I mean, I've gone back to Venice Beach in the day, but I've never slept 1 second in Venice Beach after that. I was like, goodbye. Don't need that. I don't know what the problem was. They could have been robbing them. I don't know, man. Salty Nuts, Magoo. What's up, man? It's good to see you, buddy. I'm getting up there in years. This freaking team is going to win in the years I croak just to stick it to me. Dude, you're not alone in that sentiment, man. I've had people say that. You know what I think is going to happen, Salty Balls? Is I think that if the Jets do win the Super Bowl, we got to pay attention to this. There's going to be like a mass peaceful passing of thousands of older Jets fans. They're just going to go, I'm done. Goodbye. You know what I mean? I believe that. I think like the day after, they're going to enjoy the night. They're going to kiss their wife. They're going to say goodbye to their kids. They're going to go to sleep, and that's the wrap. That's what I think. Oh, don't worry about it. No, Salty. I see what you're saying. Don't worry about the typos. We get through those. No worries. Yeah. So yeah, I hope not, Salty Nuts. I hope we win before you while you're still here with us, my friend. That's important. That's important. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, there's not. I got the it's not even half of the you guys are in here. Hit the like button. If you could do that, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That's greatly appreciated. We have no game this week, so we'll be back on the Thursday show. I'll drop a video tomorrow as well. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Thursday. What did you say here? Prison napalm. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you right now, I was out. And then I went and lived in the valley. Want to know what I did? I lived in a studio apartment in the valley with a guy and his girlfriend, and I snorted crystal meth for 3 months. And I was awake 90% of the time. That's what I did to be safe. That was one of the craziest scenes in my whole life. It was porn industry craziness. And never seen anything like it before or since what I saw in that apartment. It was a studio apartment in Woodland Hills in the valley. And fucking, let me tell you, man, the shit that went down in that apartment while I was sitting there, I would play my guitar naked in the corner, all geeked out. Hey, listen to this. That's what I was doing. I shit you not, man, for months. People would come, people would go. They'd hang out for the day. They'd leave. We just sat there. We'd eat burritos. I would walk down to Jamba Juice. I wouldn't eat for like 5 days, and I'd walk down to Jamba Juice like this. I need 3 raspberries with a protein shot. I'd be like, put extra protein. I'm telling you, man. They're like, here comes this fucking guy again. 5 Jamba Juices with a protein shot. It's a crazy world, man. Crazy. I can't believe sometimes that I made it. I'm grateful. Let me tell you. Paul Sasaki checking back in. LA is nasty, GreenBean. I love your channel. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love hanging with you guys. If I didn't have a doctor's appointment, like I have an early one. Like I live about 45, 50 minutes from Charlottesville. So I'm like in rural, like I'm in the farms and woods and shit. So I got to be in Charlottesville by 8:30, which means I got to get up earlier than I want to tomorrow. Remember, just a few months ago, I was waking up at fucking 3:30 in the morning and then 4. It's like, I'm not doing that anymore. So now waking up at 6 is, to drive into town. I don't want to do it. But anyway, I got to do that. So I got to go. But you need a sponsor? I know, right? Yeah, man. I'll be your sponsor. I sponsor guys. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you. I don't know how I made it, guys. That's why when you guys wonder, like before that phase, when I was watching the Jets, when I was just drinking and doing drugs and shit and going to Jets games, I was one of the most miserable Jets fans you'll ever meet. I was miserable. I was yelling and screaming. I used to go down to the field and fucking yell. I did all that stuff, man. Now I lived through all that stuff, that I tell you guys about. Now I'm like, all right, it's the Jets. I'm still unhappy. But I can maintain, because I look around. I'm alive. My life. I'm going to go in bed with a woman that I adore. You know what I mean? I'm very fortunate. So I just, perspective. And I don't live in LA like Paul Sasaki said. For all you guys that do, there's beautiful parts of LA too, of course. Again, Topanga Canyon, a little bit north on the PCH. I used to go hang out up there on the beach by myself. I would just open my doors of my van. I lived in an 86 Chevy for just under a year, about 11 months, 10 and a half, 11 months. And I lived in there. And then I would go stay at places and do meth for a couple months. And I'd get back in my van, you know? But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. It's 12:06. I love you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And I will see you next time. How's that sound? What's going on here? There we go. I'll see you. I'll see you next time. Good night, guys.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
We compete today. I see some ass off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody.
Dig, drop, you're finished.